Hey everybody, thanks for joining me. This is Corey with Ugly Bug Fly Shop and Crazy Rainbow Fly Fishing, and today we're going to tie Kelly Galloup's Peanut Envy for our fly of the month. I'm not going to tie it as perfectly traditional as Kelly Galloup would have tied this, but we're going to try to do it pretty close. The front hook Kelly Galloup uses for this pattern is a number 1, and he uses a number 4 for the rear. He actually has his own hooks with Montana Fly Company, but today we're going to use the Ahrex TP 610 Trout Predator streamer hook for this pattern. So let's go ahead and get our rear hook here in the number 2 in the vise. Alright, go and lock this thing down. Make sure you do a nice little thread base here. Just get this down. And I'm using some olive in 210 because I want a little bit of strength, but I also want kind of a nice finer of a thread. I have used GSP to do this before and I didn't like it as much. And I believe Kelly likes to use like a 100 GSP for this. So we're gonna layer the tail just like Kelly Galloup would. We're gonna kind of measure our tail to be just a tad longer than the hook shank. Always kind of side on a little bit too far, right? Like if you want to go a little bit longer than too short. So just something to keep in mind. And I'm going to stop up here short of the hook eye. You know, we're going to be putting on a dubbing loop and all this stuff, and I don't want to crowd my hook eye too much. So we're just going to go just short of it. And then what we're going to do, we're going to take 2 strands of this copper Flashabou. Alright, we're going to pull 2 strands off of this guy and add some Flashabou to this. Perfect. Alright, so essentially what we're going to do here is we're going to put a couple of strands of Flashabou on one side, just like that. I like to cut mine about the length of the tail. We're going to take some more Flashabou and do it right on the other side here. There we go. Perfect. And what we're going to kind of do is clean that up, get some thread down on there. We're going to grab our next piece, marabou here, nice and wispy marabou. Kelly Galloup designed this pattern to be really slim, so I like to keep it that way instead of building up some pretty crazy pieces of marabou and making it really poofy. I like to keep it slim, kind of like how Kelly would have wanted it to be. Go ahead and tie this off in here, leaving us plenty of room, the hook eye there. And come back. Alright, so next we're going to do is we're going to tie in some ultra wire in copper, brassy size. Tie in a nice piece of that. So essentially we're going to build the body of this up almost like a woolly bugger, as we're going to wrap our hackle from front to back and then you secure it using your wire here. Okay, got that. So now our next step here is to create a dubbing loop. Okay, and I'm going to go pretty big, about 6 or so inches with this dubbing loop. Tie it right back here, lock it down. Let's go ahead and bring our thread up to the front here, okay? Get my little dubbing loop tool here. It's got some remnants in it. We're gonna get that locked down. Now Kelly uses in his olive one, he uses ice stub in olive. I'm gonna use olive brown. I like the color a little bit more for myself personally, but you can use whatever color you want really. But he uses the olive. And I'm just gonna pull these apart and kind of stack them as I go. Kind of get it to the length I want. And then once you kind of get it to the length you want, you can kind of get in here and start stacking it in your dubbing loop. Just like that. Doesn't have to be too perfect. Once you kind of can get this, once you get this all in here, and kind of spread it around a little bit, you know. I like to do it a little bit sparser, I think, than most. Kind of try to spread this out, get it a little spread, get it to where you really like it and you think it's perfect for you. Maybe add one more little chunk down here. Alright, right in there. Okay, I'm just going to go and spin this guy right up. And I spin this pretty tight, so don't worry about getting too crazy with it, because I get real crazy with it. And what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and wrap the body here with our dubbing loop, creating our nice cool ice dub body. And like I like to do with my dubbing loops, is go a little bit longer than you think you need. That way, when you get all the way up here, you don't end up running out and you're like, oh man, I gotta do my dubbing loop all over again, or you have to put another dubbing loop in there. Lock it down and cut this bad boy off. And kind of come up here and finish it, make sure that this isn't going to go anywhere. Then I actually like to take it, these longer fibers. You don't have to do this, of course, but I kind of like to pull some of these longer fibers out of here, slim up that body a little bit. There it is, just like that. All right. Next, this is just some Chinese strung saddle hackle, is all this is. All right. What I like to do, and this is kind of the way Kelly Galloup does it, just kind of pulls it right off in the end there, even leaving some of those fluffy ones. Don't worry too much about that. I'm just going to tie this guy right in here. Alright, I just kind of like to go on the other side of it too, just like that. Really secure this down. And then we're going to go ahead. I like to do one complete turn, and I'm actually like it if I go better. There we go. Sometimes it goes better one direction than the other, so I just kind of roll with it. And a lot of guys will 100% use hackle pliers for this, and I do eventually, but I always wait until I get right to the very back, and then I'll grab my hackle pliers. I guess I'm just kind of a handsy guy. And do one more there. Now what we're going to do is take our brassy wire. Now, our brassy wire, since we wrapped it this way away from us, I want to wrap it towards us. I want to counter wrap that brassy wire so you're crossing over the top of the hackle. And then the way Kelly kind of explains it too is just don't spend too much of your time sitting here trying to go around and miss all these hackle fibers, and you're going to end up catching more doing that than you are just running through it and doing like nice little weave strokes just like that. Alright, look at that. Getting us some wire down. Perfect. Just going to tie this, lock this down. Alright, once you get that locked down, you can helicopter this off and really lock it down here. Just like that. And we can cut our hackle away. We're getting pretty close to having the body of this thing done up. Look at that. Alright, next step. Green flake barred crazy legs. Alright, what we're going to do is we're going to get these set. We're going to do two of them at once. We're just going to do like one wrap over the top of these guys, okay? Once you do one wrap over the top of these guys, you can kind of move them where you need them. And then you can tie them right in just like this. Perfect. There it is. Got our legs in here. I'm going to kind of brush these guys back here. Kind of cut them all about the same length, about the length of my body there. And then we got one last material to tie in for this guy. And that's going to be our one last marabou plume. And I don't like to go all the way back. I like to go just shy of my rear piece of marabou and really tie this in with some healthy wraps, okay? I'm going to cut this pretty close and then build myself up my little head here. There it is. Sweet. So it's a nice little body here. I always end up putting a little bit bigger head on this rear section than I probably should or need to. But you know, we're going to cover this with some marabou and everything else anyways. You won't even see it. But I'll tell you, it's much better than crowding the eye of that hook. If you crowd the eye of that hook, you're going to regret it. Alright? There it is. There's her body. Go ahead and I use some UV flow here. Just kind of dab it. Take my finger, roll it around. Hit it with some light. And there we go. Alright, next step. We're going to get some, I use 35-pound big game Dacron backing. Okay? What we're going to do is you're going to put it through the eye of this hook. Just like this. Through the eye. And if you guys have ever seen the production model of this streamer, they tie it with a red bead in the middle. Originally, Kelly did it with like a root beer or a brown bead. That's what I'm going to do here. Okay, just like that. All right. Then we're going to take our number 1 Ahrex Trout Predator TP610, and we're going to put a large gold cone head on it. A lot of guys use tungsten, or you'll even add weight behind this, but Kelly Galloup kind of designed it to not be that heavy. He didn't want it to do a bunch of diving. We're just going to put a nice little thread base on here. Alright. Go ahead and tie this in. I'm just going to set it right on there and throw a couple of good wraps in this. Alright. Kind of get this where I want, then you can kind of take this and move it and play with it. Now what Kelly likes to do here is give himself about a bead space between the eye of the rear hook and the bead. Pull this forward until the bead just touches the hook, and then just finish tying the sucker off so it's not moving everywhere on you. Okay? Just make sure that that stays right. I like to keep it right on the top. Now Kelly also, one thing he doesn't do is he doesn't go through the eye of the hook and then come back around and all that stuff. He thinks that this is more than enough to hold it, which it is. I've tied a lot of streamers this way and haven't broke it. Haven't had anything come apart on me yet. But one thing I am going to do is just do a nice little touch of super glue in there. A little extra security. And then we can kind of fold this back and tie this right back down. Careful not to soak your fingers in super glue. Then come way back with it, just like that. There we go, perfect. And then really wrap this up. Then you're just cramming that super glue in there, forcing it all to get soaked up. Just give yourself a little added extra protection there. Okay? Next step, we're going to essentially tie the front of this the exact same way. So get your little piece of marabou in here. Perfect. And because I'm going to err on the slimmer side of this, and I believe this is not how Kelly does it, but what I'm going to do is I'm only going to do one piece of marabou for this rear tail. I am going to add the flash, just like we did, to the back. Just like that. I'm going to take some of my flash here, the leftover pieces from my last one. We're going to do 2 pieces of flash here. Cut it about the same length there. 2 pieces of flash here. Perfect. Cut it at the same length. There we go. Get our brassy size copper wire back over here. Whatever I did with it. Just kind of humming some tunes in my head while I tie this morning. Alright. Speaking of, it's pretty early in the morning. Been here since about 6, so I'm going to take a sweet coffee quick. Yum. There we go. Perfect. Warm me right up. Make sure this is nice and locked in good. Alright, dubbing loop time. Here goes. Remember, bigger dubbing loop than you think. Tie it back on it. And another little trick too you can do is a lot of guys will take this and they'll actually wrap it and then kind of come back on it just like that. I don't do that every time. Sometimes I guess it just depends on my mood, you know, just kind of depends on my mood there. Grab our dubbing loop tool. Perfect. And then I have a little bit of this olive ice stub left over, probably not enough. So I'm gonna have to grab another little couple pooches of it, stack it, and then we can start to kind of add it in here. Alright, remember, go a little bit sparser than some of the guys do, and I also twist the bejeebus out of it too, which a lot of guys don't twist the bejeebus out of it. So I'm good with that. See, I just really just go to town here, twist that up. And we're gonna go ahead, make sure our thread's up here. Just can go ahead and wrap this guy right up. I'm gonna be like right at the right length for this. Holy smokes. Wrap that up. Lock it down. Make sure it's not gonna go anywhere on you and cut it close. A lot of people, I think, get intimidated by doing dubbing loops. I think it's important not to, because they're such a cool little tool in your arsenal for tying that it's something you should get used to doing and have some fun with. You can do a lot of really neat things with them. Just like that back, I'm going to go ahead and pull some of these out. Now, here's just the Chinese strung saddle hackle I'm using. Pretty picky about which ones I grab. Grab this guy right here, and then just like Kelly does, I'm going to leave some of those poofies ones up front. You can pull them, so what you do is you grab them with your nail and your thumb, squish them in between. You can just slowly pull that off and expose that, and give her a nice cut. So we're going to go ahead and wrap this up in here. Tie this in pretty secure. I mean, you know, you don't want this thing to come out while you're tying it in. So I'll cross over the side of it and wrap it back rearward and all that good stuff. Perfect. So you get it where you want it. Throw a good turn in there. Bring this right back. Oop, sometimes it helps to floof those. Just like this. Bring this right back, grab my hackle pliers here. One more, a couple more wraps there. Perfect. This hackle plier hang. And remember, counter wrapping it the other direction and just Bring that right forward, nice and quick, just right through there. Weave your hand a little bit. Make sure you're crossing over the top of all your hackle wraps. Come up front here and tie that down. Cool. There it is. There we go. Make sure this wire doesn't go anywhere. Perfect. Helicopter. Right off. Cut your hackle away. What I'm going to do is kind of come up here, put a couple wraps, make sure all that stuff's nice and locked down. Grab two more of your crazy legs, wrap them through there, lock them down on top, maybe throw a wrap in there if you need to, and kind of position them where you need them. Go and lock those suckers down too, just like that. Nice healthy wraps in there. These are kind of still stuck together. I'll break them up. And then I'll take these to the back and cut them just almost the length of the body. A couple more wraps. And then what we're going to do here is take one more piece of our marabou. Tie this in the top, and I make it just short of the length of this front section here. Really tie this guy in here. Cut it pretty short. Don't be too afraid, because what you can actually do is take your fingernail and kind of push those into that bead if you need to. And then really kind of tie this down. Make sure this is not going to go anywhere. Put some wraps in there. Just like that. And I'm actually giving myself a little space behind the bead, because what we're doing again is we're making ourselves another dubbing loop. Just like that. Okay? Doot, doot. Grab ourselves a couple of pinches of this. Stack it again. Go ahead and get this in there. Made this dubbing loop pretty long, but that's okay. Just kind of stretched it out and did it. Another little pinch in there. Then we're going to kind of pull these out so it's not so bulky. Spin away. Okay. And then wrap this forward a couple of times. And then don't be afraid to get this underneath that bead. You can lock this right down. A couple of wraps just like that. And a couple right on top in there. Cut this up close, just like this. And then we can whip finish it. And then what I usually do is good strong whip finish. Make sure you pull them tight, suck that thread down underneath that bead, the cone head. And then one more for fun. Really secure it. Then go ahead and chop her off. Alright folks. And then you can kind of, if you need to, you can kind of take your thumbnail or whatever, push everything in there. There you go. Kelly Galloup's Peanut Envy. Kind of a fun little tie here. Slim right out. Great pattern for streamer fishing. You know, Kelly named it the Peanut Envy because he wanted to change up the design of the circus peanut a little bit. So just kind of a fun little fact there. And yeah, thank you guys so much for joining me. This will be the fly of the month this month here at the shop. We have all colors of Kelly Galloup's Peanut Envy for sale, both in the shop and on our website. So go ahead and give that a look. And thank you so much for joining me. And next month we'll do another one. And yeah, appreciate it. Thanks so much. Have a great day. And tight lines, friends.